Today I want to talk about Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, let's talk about Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield, who are going to play in a little game of football on Sunday as the Cleveland Browns will face the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think there are a couple of things that we can talk about with this. And I think, taking something like a risk with doing this segment because it crosses over the NFL and this is primarily a college football channel. But you know it's Baker and it's Mahomes and I want some of that. Also, we got Odell Beckham Jr. out here talking about don't be surprised if they win this weekend. I mean, you played for the Browns, dog. Would you feel that way if you didn't play for the Browns? Which isn't a valid question. There are lots of Oklahoma fans that adopted the Browns after the Browns took Baker number 1 in the 2018 draft. And I get it, right? I started this channel on a piece of cardio equipment talking about Baker Mayfield planting the flag after beating Ohio State. The man is charisma. He is so charismatic, and he's such a good football player that feels like he's getting back that mojo that we thought was gone once he took on the Cleveland Browns colors and has led them to their best season in nearly 30 years. 11-5, 1994, Bill Belichick was the head coach on that team, and Nick Saban was defensive coordinator. That is what you were dealing with. That's how long it has been, right? Nobody associates Belichick or Saban with the Browns. Louis Riddick was a safety on that team. But with Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield, there's history. Many of you know. 2016, 66-59, Oklahoma wins that game. Pat Mahomes passes for 734 yards, which is a record. 5 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield passes for 545 yards and 7 touchdowns. It's a record, right? 5 tutties for Mahomes, 7 for Baker, and then Joe Mixon was probably the best player in that game altogether. But what I find to be really interesting about this matchup is the Browns are built like Texas Tech was, and the Chiefs are built like Oklahoma was. They have dudes at every single position. They have the 2019 MVP as their quarterback, and they won a Super Bowl last year. They are the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. Baker and the Browns weren't even supposed to get past Pittsburgh. And not only did they get past Pittsburgh, they beat up on a team that was playing bad football, but also was one of the best teams in the sport leading up to the last few weeks of the season. So there's this question about momentum, and I'm not really a big momentum person because I don't really think that that's a property you can measure, but you can feel good about yourself and you can feel confident and you can feel like you're playing with house money, so you're much more likely to take risk that you probably wouldn't in games that you're not expected to lose, right? The Kansas City Chiefs. So knowing they have Patrick Mahomes and who he turned out to be, knowing who Baker Mayfield was and who we think he can be, that's what makes this all very intriguing to me. But I'm really interested to see what Baker looks like with not perhaps lesser dudes, right, than the Chiefs. I don't think that that's an untoward thing to say. I mean, Jarvis Landry can play. We all know about Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. But outside of that, I mean, Mahomes over there with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Clyde Edwards-Helaire when he's healthy, Le'Veon Bell when he's not. And Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. Like, there's a reason why the Chiefs are picked here. But I think the take here is who thought that the Browns would be in this position, even with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, other than Oklahoma fans, quite honestly, right? This is a really big win for all the folks that have been riding with Baker, who saw the dude that walked on at Texas Tech, didn't get a scholarship, chose to walk on at Oklahoma, and was the first walk-on quarterback to achieve the starting job in history. First walk-on to win the Heisman Trophy in history. But also, Baker Mayfield walking away from Texas Tech left the door open for Patrick Mahomes to take that job. Like, think about this. We're talking about Davis Webb competing with Baker Mayfield for playing time, right? Like, that's bonkers to me. Michael Brewer competing with Baker Mayfield for playing time. No wonder Pat Mahomes can show up there with a bazooka arm, committing without ever actually stepping foot on campus because he's from East Texas and Lubbock is in West Texas. And at White House, he's putting up all these numbers and they're running this air raid style where he wasn't even the best player on the team. Like, that was Dylan Cantrell, wide receiver he was throwing passes to. Look at Baker, and to know that he was not highly regarded. He was seen as pudgy and underweight, and Trent Dilfer tells stories about, yeah, that's probably why he didn't like me, because we didn't think he was that good. Didn't know he was going to turn out to be that guy. But who did? Only Baker did, right? And that's also his persona, and that is one of the reasons that he's beloved by those of us that weren't on anybody's radar, that had to bust behind and outwork people to get folks just to pay attention. It takes a special kind of moxie for you to show up on a Power 5 program's doorstep unannounced and say, I'm here to play quarterback, which is exactly what Baker Mayfield did. Bob Stoops did not know he was coming. As a matter of fact, Lincoln Riley tells the story that when he was in East Carolina and he found out that Baker was going to transfer, he tried to recruit him to East Carolina in Greenville. And Baker said, I'm going to Oklahoma. And Lincoln said, are you crazy? Like, Trevor Knight just won the Sugar Bowl. He's going to be the starting quarterback there for a long time. Why don't you just come play Pirate football? Baker said, I'm going to beat him out. And at the time, that is a wild thing to say, right? Because Baker was coming off of a Texas Tech team that wasn't very good. And Trevor Knight had just beaten Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. Like, at the time, there was good reason to believe that Trevor Knight was going to turn out to be the guy that Baker Mayfield turned out to be. And yet, everybody saw that except Baker. Baker showed up and said, no, I'm the guy. Watch this. I'm going to lead you to a Sugar Bowl win in 2016, to a college football playoff semifinal berth in the Rose Bowl in 2017. And I'm going to get drafted number 1 overall by the laughingstock of pro football. And then, in just 3 years, I'm going to have them playing in the second round of the playoffs. No matter how this game goes, that is Baker Mayfield's legacy. That is the reason why people love him and believe in him. Everywhere he goes, winning seems to follow. Pat Mahomes, fortunate to get in the situation he is with the talent that he has, and a real just seer, a visionary in Andy Reid, knowing what he could get, trading up to the 10th spot to go get him. But I believe that Baker's road is sheer will, and Pat Mahomes is talent and happenstance. We'll see what happens when they meet on Sunday. Deuces.